Hi there. Welcome to another talk. And as you can see with the picture, this talk is about reading and information and knowledge. Now, most people would think I mean external knowledge or books. I read one book in my life when I was a little kid. It was a children's book. I think I've listened to 2 audiobooks in my life as well. So not much. And yet here I am with all this knowledge. Why is that? Well, because I entered something that I describe it as pure innocence. That is a spiritual awakening. I manifested within me a spiritual awakening and a spiritual awakening process at the age of 24. I'm 33 my birthday, so just under 10 years. And the reason I put a picture up like this was because what I've entered from that moment I spiritually awakened was an infinite library of who you are. Now, this is also scientifically proven that in the Heart Math Institute that you can go within your heart center. That's where I go, and you can heal your entire body. But also within there, some people call it a tiny space in the heart. I would call it an infinite space in the heart. And when you connect with that, you connect with the electromagnetic core of your life. And that electromagnetic core has this library, is this library of all the knowledge and understanding to heal you in this present moment, to get you over certain issues that are within you. And within you is that library so that you can find what's going on in your reality, because our unconscious issues are all within us. So it's within that we must go. So I guess the only Bible I read is the one that's within me. But before this awakening, I didn't read books either, even films or anything that's external. Why would I? Because external is, well, everything outward is something else that someone has made up. So why would I be interested in someone else's truth? This is how people can't access what's within. Because their heads are brainwashed by so much external things going on, made up by other people. So basically, a person is made up of all this external stuff, but the soul consciousness is absolutely unique, and that's who you really are. But this cannot be accessed when our head is filled with crap. And then what that does is, like, say we read books all the time, read a book a day. That's external information, and you can't, you're so programmed by it that there's no time to know who you really are, who your soul is. And it's only when you tune into your soul that you find the answers. What also happens, a lot of people that read like a book a day and all this stuff, all your awakening is your ego. I've known so-called spiritual people like this, but they've not had that big spiritual awakening. So the difference with a person that's had a spiritual awakening, to you or someone that is always looking externally, is like I said a second ago, the only thing you're awakening is your ego when you're just trying to find out all this knowledge. But the spiritual awakening process isn't just about knowledge. The knowledge comes from the understanding and clarity that comes in your awareness and that can become knowledge. So it's not just knowledge for knowledge's sake, it's understanding, and then you can make that into knowledge. And what you're tapping into is this infinite library that is within you, and it's within your heart center. And when people say go with your gut, well, that's in relation to that, because once you go within the heart space, you're unlocking your heart chakra, and then what starts to happen is the other chakras start to work with that. Starts by going within your heart space. This is what happened to me. I had an unexpected spiritual awakening. I did nothing to get this awakening. I didn't do any meditation. I didn't do any spiritual courses or classes or yogas or anything like that. My mum's a psychic and traveling people, gypsy people, but nothing they did was like spiritual awakening. It was like contacting dead spirits and stuff like that. This is on a different level, because what you're actually doing is you're accessing, like I say, the core of life. Most people have to wait till they die to do this, but you can do it right now by having that spiritual awakening. And then what happens is you're tuning into, you're working with your heart space and your heart-based living now, and you're finding all these answers and understandings of things, and what you're accessing is the Akashic records, and it's within that heart space. But you won't access the Akashic records if you're half-hearted. God only listens to authenticity, and God is Gaia, which is the one consciousness that is, the one love that is. And man and woman is split into two to create life, for life, you know, and to complement each other, but they're both the same oneness. This is another thing that comes from spiritual awakening, this oneness path. It's not like I've read a book on it and repeating it. I've went on this walkway of oneness. It's a path of oneness. It's a understanding what oneness is. Oneness is actually not just seeing all people as you, but it's realizing that all is you. Because everything has to come, everyone would agree that everything has to come from nothing at some stage, and nothingness is all of infinity. That means that you can't have two in one infinity. That's why everything is me. Right? That's what oneness really means, that everything is the same infinity. But yeah, when you're working with what's within the heart space, you start to feel, and unconscious emotions manifest themselves in our physical reality. How we react to things, how we behave, our situations that comes up in our life, all from our energy field. And when you're working within the heart space, you're meditating, but you're also healing your energy field. And this changes even the situation that manifests in your life, because the energy that you are attracts the same kind of energy. That's why in the spiritual community, they say you attract what you are. It's based in your energy field. So by accessing the Akashic records, this is what you're accessing. Akashic records isn't so much knowledge as people think. It's actually an awareness that you're entering, and this awareness, like I said earlier, can become knowledge. You turn it into knowledge and explain it like knowledge, but at its core, it's a feeling of vibration and energy. That's really the Akashic records. So it's like you've went to the future to help you in the present moment. And as you're doing this, you're realizing that what you're doing is you're working with the present moment and using external things for what's within you, and vice versa. And all this healing starts, and all this clarity and understanding, awareness, higher awareness comes the moment you go within. I haven't had depression for nearly 5 years. I was suicidal with my depression. I was 28 when I stopped getting depressed, and I'm 33 on my birthday. So, but yeah, that is how you heal yourself. And you're not just healing this timeline. When you go within yourself, you are healing all the other lives you've had. You've healed all the traumas that have manifested themselves through other lives. There's a thing called trauma-based mind control, and part of it works from your past lives. They traumatize you in a past life, so in this life you'll choose the likely things that the system wants you to choose. So by going within, you're actually healing these traumas from past lives, meaning you can evolve past the trauma-based mind control, meaning you can go to a higher reality when you die. That is the possibility when you spiritually awaken and ascend to the fifth dimension and beyond. And beyond that is just infinity. You see, everything is just infinite love. The reason love exists is because there's a gratification that comes from when awareness comes from nothing. It didn't think it exists, so it's aware now of life, so it's grateful. It's so super grateful. And that's the purest love you can have. To be grateful of your existence when you thought you were nothing. When there was just nothing before. And I'd class that as a God moment. Yeah, and it's all within you. That's where God is. What did Jesus Christ once say? When Jesus Christ was asked what God was or where heaven was, he said the kingdom of God is within you. But what was Jesus? He was really someone going through a very similar journey to me. A spiritual awakening process. That's why he knew it was within. And other people before him and after that went through similar paths said the same things. Jesus wasn't a separate God. He was basically accessing the same power that's within everyone. This infinite library, which is the Akashic records. And you see, that's where all the power is, because it's the thing is, people in the spiritual community that read books and do all these courses, they're not happy. They don't seem very happy. That's why they get annoyed with you when you don't buy into their belief or their book that they want to show you. But what's the most important thing in life? To be happy. When you're happy, you don't wish to impose your beliefs onto other people. You're just like, live and let live. And this is what these people haven't had, because they haven't had that awakening. Enlightenment is spiritual awakening. Spiritual awakening, enlightenment, is awakening to something, understanding something, and you then turn that into knowledge, as I've said. But that's what spiritual ascension is. You can't have that by just reading books, because that's someone else's enlightenment process, not yours. Within you is an infinite power, a unique infinite soul consciousness that is not external. The external world creates the false self, and this is why Buddhists work on silencing the mind. It's to get rid of all the endless distractions which distract us from what's within us. And that is what I would call the matrix. The matrix is the endless distractions that is. By silencing the mind, going within your heart center, you enter mindfulness, which is a clear mind with no thoughts and heartfelt. And that's when you find God. God is that heartfelt thing within, which is just infinite love. God is Gaia, and all is within you. But anyway, I'm just going to leave it there. For latest talks, news, all updates by me, please visit my website at www.lovelightfamily.com. Thank you very much for watching and listening to my talks. Thank you.